Welcome to As Above.
So below,
I am Kisha Lee, the Psychic Yogi.
and I'm Cidnee Rich, and this is Astro Reiki Cancer season. So welcome. We're going to chat about the vibes of the season, and then we're going to do a little collective tarot. Kisha's going to come in with all her goodness, and we're going to have a beautiful Astro Reiki session that is truly magical, transformative, and always extremely healing. And so with this Cancerian energy of the healer, I can only imagine what tonight and whenever you're watching this, what it will bring for you in your healing journey. So bless. It is Cancer season. It's the start of the summer. Cancer season started on the 20th, along with the summer solstice. And so it's initiating this new season, this new energy. And what's really cool about this Cancer season is it's conjunct or together with Jupiter being in Cancer as well. Jupiter in Cancer is going to bring all of us, no matter where your Cancer placements are, a lot of expansion, a lot of abundance, and this sense that, like, you know what, we have a helper on our side, just like a mom, right? Our moms are our mother figures. They help us out. They're there to tend to our wounds, physical, emotional. And that is what Jupiter's kind of doing. It's coming in the midst of all this craziness that's happening in the world to give us a little bit of a balm so we don't feel so chafed, right? Like we don't feel so like, dang, every day is something abrasive and intense. And like, it doesn't seem like there's any relief. But Jupiter in Cancer, this Cancer season is bringing us some of that relief, but it's going to look different for all of us. And so I do absolutely encourage you guys to go check out your natal chart and see where Cancer is in your chart. Even if you don't have any prominent Cancer placements, you do have a house that is ruled by Cancer, and that's going to be highlighted for the next 12 months. So get familiar with that energy. And we're still in this new moon energy, set intentions around that, where you want to see that growth, that healing, that abundance coming in your life in that way. And as Cancer is such a healing, motherly energy, it's also the crab, right? It's got this protective quality to it where we may find ourselves very blocked wherever Cancer is on our chart because we've shelled ourselves off from letting anything in or letting anything out. And that can feel very aimless at times. And I think about crabs and how awkward they walk. It's like, where are you going? You know what I mean? You're moving sideways, but where's your destination? Because we're so used to that kind of like directionality, like forward, right? And when we have that protective energy around us, it can feel like we're moving laterally sometimes and we're never kind of progressing. We're never like moving forward. And that's because that shell keeps us in that space sometimes of our comfort, right? Cancer talks about our comfort, our security, our safety. And in order for us to grow, we all know we got to step outside that comfort zone. We have to be willing to take that shell off. But that requires feeling safe and knowing that when we do that, we're not going to get hurt. But we can't guarantee that. And throughout this season, I think it's a chance for us to see where we can take our shell off and be willing to get hurt, because maybe we don't get hurt. Maybe we get healed. And when we talk about being healed and healing, it's because something is wounded, something is not optimally working. But if it's covered up and we can't get to it, then it's never going to heal. And I know from my personal experience, I have quite a shell around my vulnerability when it comes to my emotions. And my 12th house is in Cancer. So it's like hidden. It's like it's down in the depths. And so I have to really work at, and I've been working at, it's been showing up for me of like pulling that out and saying, like, look at it. You got to look at it so you can start to work with it. So you can start to get that movement that the cardinal energy of Cancer is like allowing for us. We can get where we're going, y'all, but we got to be willing to like take that shell off and say like, okay, here I am. Here I am. Because the world, what are we hiding from? It's already chaotic. It's already a mess. So it's not as if our mess is going to add to the mess. It's not as if our like unhealed parts are so oh my god, I can't see that. Like no, like we've seen it all. And I genuinely think that us having Jupiter in Cancer and us kind of navigating the season is going to help us realize like, you know what? Like I don't, that's not my story. Like that's not my story any longer. And we can grow and we can be better and we can heal and we can move forward. Jupiter's helping us see that expansion. And so it's making me really excited. And I do feel that this season is really a pivotal kind of turning point for that to happen. And for the foundation as it's connected to the fourth house in astrology. And it's the depths of everything. It's like the base. And if we can all individually start to do that real, like, here I am, come at me, bro, because I'm trying to move forward in whatever this is in my subconscious. It's Cancer is ruled by the moon, which rules our subconscious. Whatever in my subconscious is like holding me back, I'm shining a light on it. We're shining a light on it with this season. And it helps us actually really root down into the new kind of fertile ground that we are moving from. And that Capricorn full moon that we'll have this season is going to help us, like, I feel, shed the like dead earth, right? The dead foundation. And so right now we're kind of flooding it. We're kind of like, we're excavating it with our emotions, our feelings, what's coming up. And so then when we get to that full moon on the 10th, we see it and we're like, you're out of here. You're dead. You're not helping me. This root is disconnected. I don't want this anymore. I don't need this anymore, which is connected to that energy of Cancer as well. What do we need? Right? We don't need this anymore. It's not helping us. It's holding us back. So this is a very powerful energy. It's connected directly to the divine feminine. And we are the answer to our own lives, to the world. And as we heal, and Kisha, we know she is Miss Divine Feminine, okay? And definitely connect with her, y'all, okay? If you guys are watching this on YouTube, connect with Kisha. She just started our brand new program, Blue Moon Wisdom. And so this is a perfect time for you to even connect in that aspect and get in touch with your femininity and your power. So that's just an aside there. But this isn't, I just got to chill. So this is just like the time for the divine feminine to really show like, look, nurture is best. And we can counteract this very intense energy that's happening, but it starts with ourselves. And as we do that work, it is a ripple effect, just like the waves in the ocean, right? Just a little other light astro before I pull some cards for us. We already talked about Jupiter moving into Cancer. That happened in Gemini season, but it's being amplified now. Mercury was in Cancer when we first started. It has moved as of today when we're filming this into Leo. So we're going to be even more passionate and even more moving from our heart space, which is also doubly connected to Cancerian energy. It's like Cancer and Leo, like they back up, they come one after another, and they're very connected. You know what I'm saying? But they're like the divine masculine, divine feminine kind of like very similar energies, but in a different way. They're always moving from that heart space though. So Mercury being in Leo this month, I think is going to help us feel confident in showing up in that healing space and saying like, hey, you, to self, to anybody around us, like, let's talk about this. What do we need to talk about? Let's get to it. Venus will move into Gemini. So that'll give us a little levity. That'll bring us a little fun. You know, it is summer, so going out and maybe going on vacation, hanging out, you know, it's that'll come in. I think I can't exactly remember the date, but we'll get that kind of like breath of fresh air so it doesn't feel so dense. But then I will say, y'all, we are entering retrograde season this month. So that's another reason for us to get really prepared with what it is that we need to really make sure we're taking charge of and healing so that we can kind of like navigate this retrograde season in a way that is beneficial to our full kind of like overall health, because retrograde season is going to help us go back. And now when we're more healed, we're more vulnerable, we're more willing, we can say, oh, now I have more clarity on this. Oh, now I know what to do with this thing as it shows up for me. So Neptune will be moving retrograde, Saturn will be moving retrograde, and then we'll have our second Mercury retrograde of the year. So that's a little bit of the astro forecast. I'm going to go into the collective message and then I'll turn it over to Miss Kisha. If you guys are watching this before July 10th, we have our Mystic Moon in Atlanta, Georgia. If you are local, tickets are live. You can find the information in the video below. Make sure you like, share, comment if this is content that you're digging. I lost the card. Let's see what it is. 4 wands. Cute. Oh, I do just have to plug these because they're very Cancerian. Earth Woman Tarot. So cool. I freaking love them. I'm obsessed, you guys, obviously. All right. Collective message. Tower at the bottom. Breakthroughs, y'all. I didn't mention Uranus is moving out of Taurus into Gemini. That's one thing I did forget. So Tarot's spirit said hello. So the Tower, breakthrough. This is all I'm getting out of this. Breakthrough, breaking through that shell, breaking through the blocks, breaking through whatever has been jamming us up and not allowing us to receive, right? King of Cups, bounty, flow, abundance, being a master of our healing and realizing like, yeah, you know what? I can do this. Things can get better. You don't have a broken arm perpetually, it heals. And that is the same thing for our bodies as it is for our emotional state and our spiritual space. We can heal. Healing is possible. And the King of Cups shows us that he has mastered it. He's able to sit in the midst of this sometime crazy ocean and stay grounded, rooted, and not get swept away. The Emperor. So I think that's really cool that we had the King of Cups. So it's reminding us that duality of energy within us. That yes, we are with the divine feminine, but the divine masculine is the action that we are taking to do the healing. And also, this is the 4th major arcana connected to the 4th astro house, which is Cancer, that's creating the stability for longevity. And also Saturn and Neptune, which are both going retrograde, are in Aries this season, going retrograde this season. They're in Aries. So it's reminding us that like stability is not linear, although the divine masculine surface energy would have you think that, right? Sometimes we have to go back to get that stability, right? And that is part of that fluidity of the King of Cups. He's part of the Emperor energy, but he knows like, hey, you might have to go back and go revisit something, but that doesn't mean you're weak. That doesn't mean you did something wrong. It means that you've now mastered that, and you're kind of like, to me in my mind's eye, I'm seeing like 4 pegs, and I see like you taking this peg out and putting this one back in. It's like you're replacing it with something that's now more fortified. So it actually has that stability, which I was kind of referring to with the full moon in Capricorn that's coming up. Yo, what? I can't. Spirit's been on one for me with this. Anyways, it's the King of Pentacles. So we have our Cancer divine, masculine, feminine energy, and we have our Capricorn, which is the opposing sign. We're going to have that full moon energy here with the King of Pentacles. So both aspects here are still feminine energies, right? Cups and Earth are still feminine, but this Emperor is here to stabilize us. This is cardinal energy. This is what's initiating the change, the healing, and it's actually actionable. It's happening. It's not wishful. It's not maybe. It's real. It's real. The breakthrough is real. Bless.
I'm ready for this breakthrough. So my emotional body is ready for a emotional breakthrough. But like you were saying, Cidnee, it's in ways that bring more fulfillment. I feel like the energy for Astro Reiki is about expanding our emotional capacity versus like trying to sidestep or just wash over things. Learning to expand our emotional body so that we can actually hold our emotions in a way that can be stabilizing but can also be freeing. It's like a bit of a purification ritual right now that I feel like is happening. I think we obviously see that in the world. A purification. And sometimes when you're purifying something, it just, things get muddy at first. It's kind of like when they turn the water off, the faucet and stuff at your home, and then when they turn it back on, doing all that, and it's like all muddy, that Georgia red clay. And then eventually, as you let it run, then the pipes become clear, the water becomes clear, things begin to flow more naturally. So if you find yourself in a space of emotional muddiness, it's like, well, how can you expand that capacity to be able to hold your emotions in a way that is more grounded, but still more fluid, and still be tender and gentle and compassionate with yourself, which is that motherly energy of Cancer, without necessarily sidestepping it like the crab. Trying to sidestep it and just actually, crab's a little feisty. Okay, it reminds me of, and I was in Korea one time. We were trying to help this little crab, and I get ran over in the highway, and he was just like trying to fight me. I was like, dude, I'm trying to help you out. But anyway, so it's one of those things where it's okay to be a little crabby. It's a little okay to not necessarily want to feel your emotions and want to sidestep them, but still you need to be able to have some of that directionality, like Cidnee was talking about. You need to be able to harness those emotions, right? Hold them in a space where you can acknowledge what no longer feels good, right? And allow that energy or the element of water with all this cardinal energy here to wash away what no longer serves you, right? So that what does nurture you, what does help you feel cared for, tended to, can actually show up and actually grow in this new space of fertility. And I think that's where that Cancerian energy of water, and then the earth energy, like the full moon, in the sign of Capricorn, which is earth, right? When you bring water and earth in a nice harmonious balance, and you get fertility, you get fertile soil where, roots can take place and things can begin to really sprout, and you can show the fruit, right, for the work that you've done. And I think that's a little bit of that, like King of Pentacles, with the work, doing the work, but also mastering your emotions, being able to hold space for yourself, like the King of Cups. And then being able to wrap it all together and say, okay, I understand what's going on. I can feel my emotions, but I don't have to get so overwhelmed by them or caught up in them. Let me learn how to navigate them with the wisdom that I've gained as a person, that I am now. Recognize that some of these emotions may be things from our past and they're coming up because they need to be cleared and purified. So I think this is a good time to really focus on, just nurturing the seeds that you've planted, but also making sure that you're digging up those roots that don't serve you anymore, so that you can have greater space, right, to create, to bloom, to flower, to grow, and to expand. And then when the fall comes, you can actually reap your harvest. And that to me is that emperor energy, of knowing how to really navigate this time, this season with mastery. So we'll be diving into that in our Astro Reiki session here.